In the latest Cyberpunk 2077 news, Mike Pondsmith commented that he wrote the original Johnny Silverhand song Chippin' In when he used to play the brass in a real band. The Chippin' In music from Cyberpunk 2077 is somewhat different from his original song, so he likes to view it as a cover. He used to have an entire album of Johnny Silverhand material which he sold on cassette tape. Mike provided some of the lyrics to the original song, which are currently on screen for your perusing pleasure. Regarding the Trauma Team, Pondsmith said he based it on real-life research, explaining that if you get sick in some foreign hellhole on vacation, they will often chopper in and rescue your ass and take it to a high-end hospital. He also researched actual companies that provide paramilitary protection for medical transport. CD Projekt Red continued to get into the festive spirit by decorating their office trees with Northern Cardinals. As the CD Projekt Red logo, the Northern Cardinal is almost guaranteed to be referenced in Cyberpunk 2077, similar to the Scarlet Cardinal in Witcher 3: The Wild Hunt. For those unfamiliar with its origins, the Northern Cardinal, as described by Adam Badowski, Cyberpunk 2077 game director, reflects how CD Projekt Red view themselves in the gaming industry. Intrepid, bold and confident, flying high and aiming even higher. The color Cardinal Red is something that connects it with another bird, the mythological Raruk, which is a firebird believed to bring luck to people. Red represents energy, the inner fire that drives CDPR to make the best RPGs in the world. On the topic of being able to kill NPCs in Cyberpunk 2077, Philip Weber commented that no, you cannot kill all NPCs. CDPR would like to tell a good story, and their stories are very character driven, so some NPCs have to be essential to the story being told. As a comparison, Weber cites Fallout New Vegas as an example when it comes to games with a great narrative where one can still kill most if not all NPCs. The big difference between New Vegas and the story of CDPR games is that Vegas is faction driven, while CDPRs are specifically character driven. For the kind of story CD Projekt Red are making for Cyberpunk 2077, killing all NPCs would break it, or CDPR would have to spend a significant amount of resources just securing each character's death. Resources which CDPR prefer to use on deeper quests. However, wherever possible, the player will be given the choice of killing NPCs. In October, you may recall that PC Gamer did an article on Cyberpunk 2077, which I covered on the channel. PC Gamer repeated that article 2 weeks ago, and several street rats attempted to pass this off as new information.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. Watch it! I'm huge!
Well, be wary of clickbait Chumba, as PC Powerplay, which is part of the PC Gamer family, released their latest issue today and repeated the same article for the third time. In this week's subscriber Q&A, a few Chumbas asked me about space travel and social hubs. My initial reaction was, Chumba, have you been overdosing on dwarfs again? Or perhaps your Zetatech neural processor is malfunctioning? Sadly not. It appears when the street rat responsible for this nonsense is not plagiarizing content from others, they are disseminating fake news on the streets of Night City. The topic of social hubs originated from unsubstantiated multiplayer rumors in October 2017 and were covered by a myriad of commentators at the time. There have been no updates on social hubs since 2017. It is currently unknown what CDPR's plans for multiplayer and Cyberpunk 2077 are, aside from the announcement of their partnership with Digital Scapes and advertising for a multiplayer designer back in August. When interviewed at E3, both Maciej Pietras, lead cinematic animator for Cyberpunk 2077, and Patrick Mills, quest designer for Cyberpunk 2077, stated that CDPR were focusing on developing Cyberpunk 2077 as a fully open-world role-playing game, which will be a fully fledged single-player experience. Although they both commented that CDPR were currently researching multiplayer options. Coincidentally, Mike Pondsmith advised that it is not a good idea to use advertised positions to scope out game content. On the subject of space missions, there has been no new information on visiting the moon since April 2018. The rumors on space missions originally stemmed from an article published by Game Pressure on April 23rd, which claimed its secret source revealed that action will take place on the moon in Cyberpunk 2077. As I mentioned in a previous video, quests associated with space, moon colonies or orbital air are not completely outlandish concepts, given they did feature in Cyberpunk 2020. However, regurgitating old news to deliberately deceive people amounts to nothing more than taking advantage of Cyberpunk 2077 fans and giving them the proverbial middle finger.
Judgment time.
Considering the street rats' modus operandi and their apparent necrophilia fetish, if you run into this clickbait vermin in the combat zone, avoid it like the carbon plague. Alternatively, Morgan Blackhand recommends the Kandachi Dragon for situations just like this. Several Chumbers have sent queries on whether replicants similar to those seen in Blade Runner might appear in Cyberpunk 2077.
Is this testing whether I'm a replicant or a lesbian, Mr. Deckard?
Just answer the questions, please.
Mike Pondsmith has previously stated that he deliberately avoided genetic replicant types in Cyberpunk 2020, the reason being that replicants go against the game's main message, which is about mankind interfacing with machines instead of it being about intolerance against a specific group. Furthermore, cyberware is ubiquitous, being a replicant is not. Coming as a surprise, Associate Design Director for Cyberpunk 2077, Kyle Rowley, who did many of CDPR's interviews at E3, announced he is leaving CD Projekt Red to join Remedy Games. This might be for family reasons, as his wife, also a former CDPR employee, is from Finland. Kyle's wife and child made a cameo in the Cyberpunk 2077 demo via a combat cab advert.